Witam Państwa serdecznie.
My name is Patryk Grzeszczuk and I represent the 11-bit studios. I will speak about my company in a moment, but only because we are a part of this small but growing niche of serious or meaningful gaming. So we produce games which are to give you more than just fun. This is a spoiler, and let me start with the slide number 2, which I hope will be visible to you. So, an overall perception is that games are evil. If I were to ask my mom what games are and what they give to us, she said it's thoughtless fun and a waste of time. It's better to go outside, play some football, or do just about anything else. I've been disagreeing on this and many other matters with my mother for quite some time, but this is the general perception anyhow. So still, based on this general perception, some developers promote their games, bad, controversial things that are somewhere on the verge of something that should never be done, sell well. This is something that raises interest, outreach, so developers and creators use this perception to promote their titles. This is not the best solution, but it is relatively cheap and simple. One of the examples is a game I like very much, Dead Space 2. This is not the newest edition. What is important is that the campaign for this game used the negative perception, the negative opinion surrounding games in the society and in the media in general. So this general attitude of mothers towards gaming was used by the producers in order to sell the product to the young people. So this is such a great game that your mom will probably hate you. You will see a number of videos to you. There is no sound. However, as you can see from the image itself, this spot shows a reaction of mothers after having seen Dead Space 2 for the very first time. This is quite a good game with a good story. It is a science fiction game, so this is the fantasy game. It provides a lot. It is brutal, but this is not the most important part of it. This is something that is underlined and in order to sell the title. As there is no sound, I will not show you the whole video, but at the same time, in parallel with this type of campaign and games, we have other games which use the element of fun in a different way and the element of interaction in a different way. We got sound.
Dobra, dajmy spokój. Wszystkie z tych materiałów możecie Państwo znaleźć online, w związku z tym, jeżeli będziecie chcieli się kiedyś nimi zainteresować głębiej, to Google, YouTube i to wszystko tam możemy znaleźć. No i właśnie, i jednymi z tych twórców, którzy właśnie mają trochę inne podejście do kategorii gier, jest 11-bit Studios. My jesteśmy na rynku od 2010 roku. Nasza siedziba mieści się na malowniczym Żeraniu. Ci z Państwa, którzy są z Warszawy, wiedzą, że pomiędzy dymiącymi kominami i budynkami, które ogłosiły bankructwo, można znaleźć jakieś małe biura, które tam jeszcze funkcjonują. Jednym z tych biur jesteśmy my. I my tworzymy gry. I mamy taki nasz pomysł na siebie, który nie jesteśmy jedyną firmą na świecie, która to robi, jak Państwu pokażę, ale jesteśmy z niego całkiem dumni. To znaczy stworzyliśmy sobie taką, górnolotnie to nazwę, filozofię robienia gier, które mają znaczenie. Meaningful games. Chcemy robić gry, które nie dość, że są dobrym kawałkiem rozgrywki i rozrywki, to jeszcze dają dodatkową wartość w postaci rozpalania dyskusji na dany temat, pokazywania nowych problemów, które jeszcze nie były dotknięte, czy to w obszarze gier, czy generalnie są rzadko dotykane w obszarze mediów popkulturowych, albo są dotykane w mediach popkulturowych, ale z jednej dosyć tendencyjnej perspektywy. I na bazie tego tworzymy nasze kolejne tytuły. To nam wychodzi całkiem nieźle, w związku z tym na rynku też odnosimy całkiem fajne sukcesy, ale nie jako jedyni, bo chciałbym powiedzieć nie o nas, bo to nie jest autoprezentacja, tylko o samym trendzie Meaningful Games. Generalnie wierzę mocno, że gry są nowym językiem. One doprowadziły do pewnego przełomu. To nie jest rewolucja, to jest ewolucja, ale bardzo dynamiczna i to jest ewolucja, która pozwala nam traktować rozgrywkę, interakcję jako język, który do tej pory nie był dla nas dostępny w mediach, czy to standardowych, czy mediach cyfrowych.
The language which was not present and where there was no interaction in the past. So we can look at it in a new way. Torben Grodal, in his new book titled Moving Pictures, and this is a very good title. So on one hand, we have Moving Pictures. It's a film, it's a book about film, but also moving in terms of moving our emotions. So the way we perceive our surroundings while simulating everything that we interact with. And we try to use our empathy in order to understand what this other living object is thinking, what are its needs, what can be their behavior. This makes it possible for us to better understand our surroundings and to better understand the world. We do it not only when we interact with living human beings, but also when we watch movies, television, and when we play games. Games, compared to other forms of communication, have a wider range of instruments at hand that can initiate emotion, also higher emotion. We are touched, we feel love, we are happy, we feel compassion. Why? Because games have a whole range of tools and instruments present in other media, books, film, music. Games can tell a story as effectively as other media, but on top of that, they are able to give an additional value, which is interaction. We do not only witness a certain story, we can create the story, we can participate in its creation. So as players, we can use the results of our creation. So let me give you an example of a few games that have been doing quite well when it comes to using interaction, not only in order to excite, but also they raise higher emotions, which means that after we switch off our computer or other device, we can still talk about it and it remains without it. That Dragon Cancer is a game developed by a couple assisted by a number of other people. In general, the story is about a marriage losing their child. This child died of cancer, and in order to cope with the loss, these people developed a game which was a catharsis for them, which made it possible for them to release all the emotions that they gathered during the illness of their child. So unfortunately, from a business perspective, this was not a spectacular success, mainly because this game as such was not very impactful. Of course, another serious problem that this is that this is a very hard topic. This is not a topic we would like to return to day after day, unlike with the entertaining games. We want to be entertained every day, but we do not want to feel such difficult emotions every day. However, this was not the objective of this game. It was to tell in an effective way a story and the experience of people who on one hand, developed the game, and on the other hand, actually lived through an experience. Another example, Please Knock on My Door. This is a yet smaller product which has not been completed yet. It has been developed by just one person, and it is about depression. It is a game developed by someone who lived through depression, who is currently completing its curing process, and he creates an interactive story where on one hand he was able to resolve his problems more effectively, but on the other hand increases awareness about depression, not only for those who suffer from depression, but also for those who surround such people, and they can better understand why people interact with their surroundings in a certain way and why after a while they stop interacting. So this is a game, an interactive story which engages us even though it has a very limited aesthetic aspect. And together with the main character, we live through a certain process, and thanks to this, we are better able to understand certain processes and consequences of depression. So the best thing you can do is to visit the website of the author, and you can also see the video presenting the game on YouTube. Both these projects are quite small, and I believe deeply that it is the smallest studios, the smallest developers that have the greatest ideas. Big studios also have good ideas, but they are not prone to take the risk. So difficult topics may be a business fiasco, but it will be possible to use them to create valuable emotions or to tell a valuable stories. Big studios are not willing to lose millions, and this is why they do not take the risk. As an average player, we expect more from games as time goes by because we consider this medium something that is equal to any other media of the pop culture. So this is an example of yet another game produced by a larger developer, Ubisoft. It was created based on letters dating back to the First World War. So it speaks about the First World War, but not as an historic event. These are just small stories presented from the point of view of participants, of those who were in search of their families, for those who didn't know what happened to their families, from the point of view of a nurse nursing soldiers. It is beautiful, two-dimensional, hand-drawn, a masterpiece. And on the other hand, it is very effective in telling a very difficult story. The First World War is somehow in the shadow of the Second World War, but this is something we should remember for many reasons. Until I played this game, I knew very little about the First World War. Schools did not really focus on it. This is something that was usually discussed towards the end of a school year. And after having played this game, I started to read about this war. And our game, This War of Mine, we decided to take up the topic of modern conflicts from the point of view of civilians. We thought that all games which have a lot of impact show conflict through the gun. So we're usually the screaming shooting soldier that conquers new lands. We wanted to show that every conflict takes place at someone's doorstep. Behind every wall, there may be a civilian who has led a normal life, which is being taken away from him. We were quite effective. We were able to develop and create more games. But from the point of view of today's presentation, the most important thing is that before we even published first promotional material, we were approached by a company, by Emir, who lived through such a story. He was a witness to war, and he said that that was the very first game which presents his experience correctly, his experience, his feelings, his life, and it helped him to work through some of these feelings, some of this emotional baggage. We invited Emir about a year and a half ago to come to Warsaw. We filmed an interview with him. I was hoping to be able to show it to you, but since we have no sound, you can look it up and hear his story and see a video of his visit. This is Emir. We have subtitles. If you can see subtitles, you can watch some of it. And there are some elements of the game. It shows civilians as casualties of conflict. They have to deal with lack of food, lack of water, and they need to take important decisions in order to cope with the coming winter, with people knocking on your door when you do not know who they are and what their intentions are, how to survive through the night, and how to recount to your children what is happening outside, and so on and so forth.
W tej chwili pracujemy nad naszym kolejnym.
We are currently working on another project. I will not show you a video of it as the time is running out. But what we try to do is to touch upon a certain concept that we consider attractive and important, in particular from the point of view of interaction, which is the most important thing for us. So in our Frostpunk game, we try to take a wider picture and to think what society is capable of when it is pushed to the edge, to the limits, so it can do things that are almost impossible. I hope that we'll be able to do just that. We are currently working hard in order for this experience to be as good as possible. So generally speaking, I am deeply convinced that gaming is the best medium to raise higher emotions for three simple reasons. First of all, we as people, we understand very well the way our culture develops. Our culture is based on storytelling, so we understand storytelling both as creators and as the audience. The other thing is that we need entertainment. We have many responsibilities, many needs. So whenever we have some free time for ourselves, we want to be entertained. And we either involve in our local culture. Times are quite comfortable in our region. Globally, the situation may be somewhat different. And something that is connected with gaming. Games can do anything that other mainstream media can do. But on top of that, they are able to use interaction and not only tell a story, but also engage players in creating the story which makes it possible for them to experience it in a better, more meaningful way. Should you want to receive more information or to interact with me, you can do this via my Twitter account, where I publish information about our sector, about our industry. I also have an Instagram account. You can visit it, in particular, if you're interested in photographs of cats and food. Thank you.